Welcome. This is a quick little video offering some advice on how to take the calculative quizzes in this course. This expands upon the ideas that I presented in the earlier illustration where I worked the cost of goods manufactured problem. The fundamental idea here is to take your approach to problem solving and break it into various distinct stages. The first stage is the stage wherein you identify what the problem is, what the topic is. I often refer to this as the macro view of the problem. It's a high-level view, a 30,000-foot view of the problem. Once you identify what the problem is, you draw on your knowledge, the things that you've been learning, on how to go about approaching that problem, on how to go about solving that problem. That step also includes figuring out what data you need. Once you've figured out the data that you need and the different resources that you need, you go and you collect that data. You could refer to this as a data collection stage. Once you've collected that data, it's also useful to create as much information as you can out of that data. So what does that mean? Remember, data is unprocessed. Information is processed data. So if I take that data and I reformat it, rearrange it into ways that are going to be more useful, that's going to benefit me further on down the line when I actually go to use that data or I go to use that information. Next step is to actually solve the problem. Well, by solving the problem, what I do is I try to figure out comprehensively what is going on. I want to fully understand the situation that I have in front of me. In no way am I limiting myself to a set of questions that are being asked. I'm going to figure out everything that's going on, and then I can answer any question. I would encourage you to always do this when you're doing your homework because you don't have any kind of time constraints. It may mean you end up doing more work than what's being asked in the homework problem, but consider what's the objective: to get the homework problem finished or to understand the material. Once I have comprehensively figured out what's going on, then I can answer any question that's put to me. And that's the last and final stage, where I answer the questions. And how I answer those questions, what format I use to answer those questions, is something independent of how I came or of how I arrived at those answers. So I'm going to give a simple little example to illustrate the idea here. Let's assume that in your home you've got a light switch on the wall that's intermittently not working, and you notice that. So you recognize, hey, there's a problem there. The way that you should go about this is to look at that, figure out what you think the problem is, spend some time thinking about what are the various different things that could be causing that, what do I need to do in order to fix that, what are the tools that I'm going to need. Go and you get those tools, lay them all out, understand that you'll be taking the plate off the wall, you'll be doing this and that and the other thing. Take some time to figure out where you're going to put your screws, so forth and so on. In other words, organize yourself. Prepare for what you're going to be doing. Now contrast that to what probably happens, or happens at least every once in a while. You have the problem, you recognize there's a problem, you run and get a screwdriver, you pull the wall plate off, then you think, well, I got the wrong kind of screwdriver because I got a flat head, but I need a Phillips head, so you go get another screwdriver, and then you get in there, and then you need a pair of needle nose pliers, and then you're running back to the garage to get that, and before you know it, you're running back and forth, mixing up two different processes. One is actually solving the problem, and the other is getting the stuff that you need. Now, whenever I end up doing this, it becomes a mess because I spend my time running back and forth. I misplace things, I can't find them, I take the plate off, I put the screws down, I lose the screws, so forth and so on. So the moral of the story here is I want to be as organized as possible. I want to do as much work as possible before I sit down and begin to try to work on, in this particular case, solving the problem of whatever the light switch. I would also point out that you should work a problem in the format that you're most comfortable with. If that's working it out on paper, then work it out on paper. In my case, with material like this, it's using an Excel spreadsheet. I'll almost exclusively always use an Excel spreadsheet. So that's how I'm going to work out the problem. If I happen to be doing a quiz in a course like this, I'll work out the problem on my Excel spreadsheet. I'll get to a point where I've had a chance to look it over. I'm comfortable with all my answers, and then I will start to input the answers into the platform. Under no circumstances would I go through and answer questions as they were presented in the platform. So that's it. That's some advice on how to approach problems in general and how to approach these calculative quizzes in particular.